Hi, it's Gab and
Max.
We are the super duo. We work in tandem together. We meld our minds to bring you this review of Pacific Rim. I'll explain that introduction in a minute. Why don't you explain what Pacific Rim is about?
Well, Earth is invaded by alien monster, huge alien monster things.
Horrible things, yes.
Yes.
Where are they coming from?
From under the water, the Pacific Ocean, from this portal.
Yeah, there's a rift in the ocean floor, and there's a portal, and that's about all that's explained about that. But who cares? That's where they come out.
Yeah.
And?
So the humans need to fight back, right?
Right.
So they make giant robots to fight back.
Of course. Giant robots. They need to be piloted by two pilots. One that controls the right-hand side and one that controls the left-hand side. That's what I was referring to. So it's a team.
Because they need to get their minds.
Yeah, and their minds are they sort of have a mind meld to help them work together physically to operate this one giant robot. There's not just one. There's several of them. But the one at a time, pretty much one robot onto one monster, and the monsters keep coming, and there's only a certain number of robots, and so time's running out, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, that pretty much sums it up. It's robots versus monsters. This is brought to us by director Guillermo del Toro, who is pretty much known for his more sophisticated sci-fi or horror kind of movies, like Hellboy. He's the same director as Hellboy, Mimic, Pan's Labyrinth. And so this one, even though it sounds very sort of cheesy, blockbuster, dumb kind of movie, there's some expectation of it being a little smarter, a little more sophisticated visually or artistically, and as I say, maybe a little bit smarter, and maybe some more interesting characters than you usually might see in this kind of Michael Bay-ish kind of summer movie. So what did you think of the story?
I liked it. I think it was good.
Yeah? Do you think it was unique, original, or do you feel like you had seen stuff like that before?
Yes and no.
Mm-hmm. I know what you mean. Kind of a combination, right?
Yeah.
Never done quite like this, but the monsters, you sort of see monsters a bit like it, like the Kraken from Clash of the Titans,
it reminded me of
big Godzilla-ish and some other alien movies, and the robots, you may have sort of feel like you've seen robots like that, and yet it also felt fresh and different at the same time. You've never really seen it in this kind of package, in this kind of story, right?
The robots reminded me of, what was that movie again, where it's like robot versus robot boxing?
Oh, Real Steel?
Yeah, it reminded me of that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that movie. Yeah, the way the robots fight the monsters is very physical. Like, in a way, it's almost like fist fights, mostly. There's a few other, like, tricks and weapons that are used, but it's really very sort of a knockdown. But I liked the fights. I like how it was just robot against monster. It wasn't all crazy like Transformers or even, Avengers, where you're like, what am I watching? Like, there's just too much going on. You know what I mean? Like, it was just very much like robot punches monster. Monster rips off robot's arm. You know what I mean? It was almost like you could picture a kid with the two toys, playing out the story, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is the kind this is perfect for kids. Like, this is just the kind of thing boys, I think, drool over. I liked it, too.
I didn't drool.
You didn't drool? Good for you. I'm very proud of you. That's my boy. No drooling in movies. I liked it because I loved the way the robots looked. Each one was a bit different. They weren't all the same, which was kind of interesting. And the way that they had to have the two pilots, and the pilot characters were kind of interesting. They didn't get too much into character, but they were kind of, you were rooting for the good guys, right? The pilots.
Also, all the monsters sort of had their different, powers.
There were different monsters, too. Each monster that came out was a bit different. They were sort of evolving, or they would have some new trick up their monster sleeve. So that was kind of neat, too. Yeah. So it wasn't just, all the monsters look the same. All the robots look the same. And the characters were, what did you think of the characters? Like the main guy and then the boss guy?
I think they're good.
I think, yeah. You learned enough about them that you cared enough, right? Like, again, these movies, it's not really about the characters or the emotions, but I think there was just enough of that in here. Was there anything that you wish there was more of, or less of, or different?
As usual, as a kid, more fights.
More fights. So there's a lot of fighting. You like the action, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, there was good action. It looks amazing. Like the special effects, I've never seen. Like, I can't criticize the special effects. It looked really good. We saw it in IMAX 3D. I probably still have
It was really good.
the mark from the glasses on my face, and so that looked amazing. Like, I would really recommend that you see this, and it was loud.
It was really good.
That you see this in IMAX.
It was
3D.
really loud.
Yeah, it just looked. It was like right in your face, and that's the way you want this kind of movie. If you're gonna see a movie about robots and monsters fighting, like you want it in your face, right? So the effects were great. I even liked the score. I would have liked a little bit more character background, but that's just my touchy-feely side. And the science, to me, I mean, not like this has to be scientifically accurate, this kind of movie, but I would have liked a little bit more backstory and explanation. You're just sort of dropped in and told certain things and expected to just buy it. And I think it could have been, if they'd made a bit more of an effort to make it a little bit more realistic, I think it would have felt like a bit of a smarter movie, because it's still not the smartest kind of sci-fi that I really like the best. But action-wise and effects-wise, top-notch. And I'd like to say a lot of it was shot in Toronto. We're from Toronto, and I think the majority of it was shot in the big studios that we have here in Toronto. So, yay, Toronto.
Yeah.
So, what else? No kissing.
We didn't do best part, worst part.
Yeah, so best part, worst part?
Best part was all the action. Action scenes were really good.
Yeah.
Worst part, there was no worst part. Because there's no kissing. Yay!
Usually if there's kissing, that's his worst part. So, hey, I mean, no kissing.
But there's a hug.
There's a hug. Okay, well, we'll let that go. Yeah, my best part was the robots. They're called Jaegers. I just thought they were really, really cool, and I love the whole idea of the two pilots working together. And I would like more like training sequences and that kind of stuff, and explaining the robots. I really like the robots. And no worst part, other than what I said, is I would have liked just a little bit more background and just a little bit more effort to make it a bit more sophisticated, smarts-wise.
There's a bit of funny parts.
A couple laughs. See, they didn't force the laughs, which is great, because when they force the jokes, like, again, Transformers kind of movies, it just really takes away from it. And they didn't do that, so I appreciated that. So really enjoyable. Great summer movie. Great for the older, kids, especially boys. You gotta see it in the theater if you're interested at all.
IMAX. Yeah, see it
IMAX. So Pacific Rim, what do you give it?
I think I'll give it 5.
5 out of 5. Pretty good. No kiss, right? I'll give it 3 3/4 Gabs, because it's not a classic. I'm not dying to watch it again, but I really greatly enjoyed it in the theaters for the summer. Lots of fun. Pacific Rim. Lots of fun doing reviews with you.
There's been lots of good movies.
There have been pretty good summer movies this summer, and, hopefully there'll be some more. Thanks for watching.
Bye.